Hi everybody, Dr. Laina Shulman here, and today I'm making a video to show you not only the best stretches for your neck, but also the worst stretches, the ones that I see patients coming in that they're doing that are causing more harm than good. So let's start off by covering the stretches that I don't ever recommend you do. So the most common stretch that I see people do that is doing more harm than good is the stretch where you take your chin down and you pull your head forward. And I know when you do this that you feel a pull down the back of your neck, and that feels like it's a really great stretch. But muscles tense up for two different reasons. One of the reasons is that the muscles are actually tense. They're actually too short. The muscle fibers have contracted like this. But another reason that you'll feel tension is that a muscle is being overstretched. So think of an elastic band. If an elastic band is overstretched and has too much tension, your body's so smart, it'll build tension in that band to try to get it back to its normal length. So it's not actually too short, that muscle, it's actually being stretched too long. And then when you take it forward into this position, you're actually stretching it in that direction and causing even more problems. So I'll show you on the spine. So we want our neck to have this nice, lovely curve throughout the day, but when we're sitting at our desks for hours and hours on end, what happens is we take our neck into this kind of a position. You can see all the joints and all the muscles going in this direction would really be overstretched when you do that. When you then yank on it forward even more, even though it feels like you're stretching the back of your neck, what you're actually doing is causing some strain. So you're feeling something there, but it's not correcting the underlying problems, and it can even make it worse. The second stretch that everybody is doing these days, because it's all over social media, are these neck retractions. So they're pulling their necks back like this repeatedly in order to try to stretch their neck. So this is not proper posture, right? This isn't creating any kind of relaxation in our neck. And while there is value if your head's forward and bringing your chin back to neutral, these deep neck retractions that people are doing, I'm seeing more and more that it's causing more problems than it's solving. So it's building tension in the back of the neck. So if you want to bring your chin back into neutral, picturing your head floating up to the ceiling before you do any other kind of stretching, that's completely okay. But these deep neck retractions that we see people doing repeatedly, they seem to be causing more problems than they're solving. And last but not least, please don't do any stretches that are causing you to pop your neck. I'm going to link a video below that explains in more detail why that is causing you so much more harm than good, and we see repeated problems from people who are doing that. So if you're finding yourself needing to pop your neck on a regular basis, you're likely moving the hypermobile areas of your spine, and because your body is so smart, it's trying to restabilize those, and so it's creating tension in those areas. So while it feels better for a minute or so after you've done it, you're going to notice that you have to do that more and more and more, causing more instability in your spine and leading to huge problems in the future. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the stretches that will work really well for you. So a couple different things. When you're using these stretches, please remember that what we're not doing is yanking a muscle longer. Instead, what we're doing is we're taking it into a position where it could lengthen, and then we're relaxing to the point that your body will let go. So if at any point in time when you're doing these stretches, you're scrunching up your face, your shoulders are coming up, you're holding your breath, you're pulling too hard. As well, it's often recommended that people hold them for 4 or 5 breaths, so maybe around 30 seconds for each stretch. But when you're in the position where you're stretching, if it feels good to wiggle your neck around and find a different position, that's completely okay. We're not going to recommend that you do a real bouncing movement when you're doing these stretches, but it's okay not to stay completely static. Try to tune into your body and see what feels best for you. I'm also going to give you little cueing about looking in certain directions, because there's actually a real connection between your eyes and your neck. So here's a little something you can try so that you can see why this is so important. If you put 2 fingers right at the base of your neck, so where your neck hits your head, so we're right in through there, and you close your eyes, and then while your eyes are closed, you just look up and down with your eyeballs. Okay, so you look up and you look down, you're going to feel the muscles right in through this area contract and relax. It's kind of a cool thing to do. So just leave your hands there, close your eyes and look all around. You can try it with your eyes open if you want, and you'll really notice that there's a deep connection between where we look, where our focus goes, and how the neck muscles are reacting. So the first stretch that I'm going to recommend is actually a twist. So we're going to do a rotation of our neck, but we're going to engage our whole spine because, of course, the entire thing is connected together. So we're going to start off. You can do this from your chair. If you're on the ground, you can just cross one leg over the other that way. But in our chair, we're actually just going to cross our legs. So from this position, all that I'm going to ask you to do is sit up tall. So you don't have to, we don't want to make it too rigid, just nice and tall, feeling like there's a string pulling us up. And then we're going to take our left hand over our right knee, and from the base, as if you're wringing out a towel and you're pulling it longer at the same time, we're going to start to twist our spine over to the right. So you can take this hand behind the chair, you can leave it on your leg, on the side of the chair, whatever works best. So we're going to twist and lift our whole spine, and then we get right to the end. We're going to finish off by looking over our right shoulder as much as I can. Again, my head is picturing lifting up, so I'm not leaning back, I'm not leaning forward, and I'm just turning my head way over to the right, feeling a nice stretch in this part of the left side of my neck. If I want to make this stretch even deeper, I can look slightly up and in the direction that my head would be going. So I'm sort of looking up in that direction. Okay, so looking up in this direction, just relaxing, making sure my shoulders are relaxed, taking a nice deep spinal twist, engaging a neck stretch as well. And then of course you can do the other side. The second stretch that I'm going to recommend you do is, this is actually my favorite one to do sitting on the floor, but I realize a lot of you are sitting in your desks. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off by reaching our arm out. So I like to picture, if I'm sitting at my desk, that there's a laser beam coming out of the tips of my fingers. If I'm on the floor and I'm cross-legged, I can just rest it on the floor and through there. But I really want to reach this arm out as far as I can. So I'm starting to engage some of these muscles to stretch as well. If you're comfortable doing so, do it with your palm up. So again, I'm twisting from here and I'm reaching my arm out as far as I can. Then at the same time, I'm going to take my neck away from this arm. So a lot of you, when you take your neck over, you're going to feel this stretch all the way down the arm and through the elbow and to the wrist. The whole thing is connected. If you need to slightly bend your elbow to do this, that's fine. You can also rest it on your desk if that's easier. Just make sure it's not hiking up your shoulder when you're doing that. So we're going to reach our arm far out and then take our head away from our arm, and then we're going to use the opposite hand, if you would like to go even deeper, to grab onto the head very gently and just add a little bit of pressure. So I'm not yanking, I'm just adding the weight of my hand to my head, and then at the same time I'm going to look up in the direction that the stretch is going. So feeling a long line out through my fingertips, up my arm, and up, of course, through the top of my head, getting a nice deep stretch in through that right side. From this position, what a lot of people like to do to play with as well is you can just open and close your jaw. Some people will really hold a lot of tension in their jaw, so while they're here, they might just very gently open and close like this. You might find that helps release some of the tension stuck in the jawline at the same time. Again, always just to the point of tension, not to the point of pain. And now for our third and final desk stretch, I'm going to show you what a lot of our patients refer to as the best desk stretch. So it is going to help stretch the area out in through here, the very front of the neck. So if you're sitting at your desk all day or you're mousing, you're particularly going to find this tight on the side that you have your arms forward with, so like your mouse arm. So this muscle here will get very tight. It will lead to anterior head carriage and a whole host of other issues. So all that I'm going to recommend that you do, there's actually a few different varieties. So depending on your flexibility level, you can either do this stretch just by having your palms face up in your lap. Again, what's that designed to do is just going to keep your shoulders open, or you can turn your palm up and you can sit on your hand. So I have my hand sort of at a 45-degree angle and I'm just sitting on it for this stretch. Or if you're a little bit more flexible, you can even just rest your hand behind your back. All of these are really designed, again, to make sure that our shoulders don't round forward, but we don't want to cause any pain or strain in the shoulder in any of these positions, so choose what's most comfortable for you. So I'm going to choose to sit on my hand. And then what I'm going to have you do from this position, I'm going to have you take your head over away from the shoulder. And then I'm just going to have you turn it up very slightly. Okay, so I'm going to show you that again. So if I go directly away from the shoulder, I'm going to stretch this area. But the second that I take my chin and I look up towards the ceiling just slightly, the stretch is now moved from the side here into more of the front. So I'll feel that up through the front of my shoulder and in through almost the angle of my jaw. So I'm picturing that the line from here all the way up through here is getting longer. Reaching my head up towards the ceiling, you can see again, I'm going to look up in the direction that I want to stretch, having this shoulder relax down while the angle of my head is pulling up in that direction. So again, if my nose is facing the front, I'm going to do the side, but the second I tip my nose up just slightly, I'm going to access this part of my neck, which of course is so important for those of us who mouse all day. So I hope that these stretches were really helpful to you. If you have any questions about them at all, please put that in the comments below and I will do my best to get back to you. Other than that, as always, we really appreciate if you subscribe and if you like this video, because we really want to answer all of your questions to make sure that you can feel your best. So have a wonderful day.